Hey, what's up everyone? Pokemon Master Ricky here, aka Fox Hunter N313 from Dorks Like Us. And, well, it seems like Nintendo's apparently in the business of censorship these days. I don't know if it's Nintendo of America. I really think it does come from the top, but it doesn't really matter. They're in the business of censorship. You know, they censored Tokyo Mirage Sessions. I think they censored Xenoblade Chronicles X, Fire Emblem Fates. I even think they did Bravely Default. Now, that's a game that was developed by Square Enix, but here in the States it was published by Nintendo, so they felt the need to mess around with it. I read that somewhere. I don't necessarily keep full track of all this stuff because there's so much that goes on in the gaming world, but since they're in the business of censorship and they want to basically police the world, whether it be to protect the kiddies or to fight the cause of the social justice warriors, I felt it necessary to point out some other things that they need to censor to protect our quote-unquote sensibilities. So I was looking through the Wii U menu. I'm just in the menu of my Wii U right now, just for reference here. First up, I think first and foremost, and this also applies to the 3DS. Most of this will apply to the 3DS as well. The web browser. That has to be censored. That has to be taken away because you can look up pornography on it, and you can look up. You can watch. I watch anime on my Wii U web browser. The web browser is really good, by the way, but they're going to have to take it away because we can make that choice to look up that content. And you know, so some of you out there will say, "Well, yeah, but you have to make the choice to do it." Well, that's right. Just like you have to make the choice to buy something like Tokyo Mirage Sessions. There are so many reviews out there for any given game, so many trailers and YouTube gameplay videos, all this stuff. And you can look up and see if a game is going to, again, quote unquote, offend your sensibilities and choose whether or not to buy the game. Just like you can choose whether or not to look up pornography on your Wii U web browser. But since we can make that choice, it has to be censored and taken away. Or they have to impose strict parental controls that we have no control over. What's up? Well, what else? Oh yeah, the YouTube app. That has to be done away with or heavily censored because there's questionable content on there as well. You can probably go in there and find girls on the beach in swimsuits. That, you know, that's got to be censored. You know, you got to take the whole app away. It would just take too much work to put in these parental controls. It would probably be just as easy to remove the app entirely. And you can also go on there and look up Tokyo Mirage Sessions, the Japanese version, and see all the stuff that Nintendo didn't want you to see. So yeah, I mean, you got to get rid of it. Netflix and Amazon Instant Video, there is questionable content on there as well. You need to take those away, or request that Amazon and Netflix take down and also Hulu, take down shows with the aforementioned questionable content. Crunchyroll. Oh my God, they've got to get rid of Crunchyroll because they really seem to be dead set against girls in bikinis when it comes to Japanese anime. God forbid we should see animated girls in bikinis. We have our pop idols here in the States with Miley Cyrus, who can get up on the stage half naked and twerk up against some dude. That's A-okay. But that's not objectification, by the way. But when you have an anime with that sort of thing, that's objectification. Yeah. So Crunchyroll, got to give it the boot. It's got to go. The Wii U video chat, that has to be taken away because someone could possibly strip themselves naked in front of someone else. Some woman could objectify herself to a man, and we can't have that. We cannot have that. Or they could even hold up a picture of some anime girl in a bikini. Wow, that would just be horrible. It's got to go. Get rid of the Wii U video calling. And I mean, if we really want to reach here, that's the image of Splatoon, the startup icon. It looks phallic. Gotta censor that. The Pikmin, the icons for the Pikmin in the Wii U menu, they look phallic as well. They've got to censor that. Even the what is it, the daily log, it has like this financial chart, or whatever you call those, the chart where it shows, how much time you've put into the games, or over the course of a week or whatever. They have to censor that. It can be considered phallic. I mean, that's reaching, I get it, but where do you draw the line at? This is the question. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic here. Where do you draw the line? It's not their place to censor someone else's work. Now, when it comes to Tokyo Mirage Sessions, which is the latest case, some out there are saying that Atlas did the localization. Atlas did the translations, and I think Nintendo technically localized it. And if Atlas did localize it, they did it according to Nintendo standards. So it's essentially Nintendo not wanting to get their hands dirty. And it's obviously Nintendo because they've censored all those other games that I mentioned before. Now, the thing about this game, about Tokyo Mirage Sessions, and that's the one I want to focus on specifically because it is the latest example. It's a game that's very niche. You could categorize its markets into two groups. One is JRPG fans, and I mean you could also say fans of the Fire Emblem series, fans of the Shin Megami series, fans of the Persona series. But I just want to lump them into two groups. You've got fans of JRPGs, and then you have otakus, and I consider myself sort of a part of both groups. You pissed off one of the two groups, the otakus. This is the same stuff 4Kids used to do back in the day with Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh. I don't pay $60. I don't want to pay $60 for a game to get an Americanized version of it. I want to pay to get the original, what the director originally intended. I don't care that it's not like my culture. That's one of the main reasons I want to buy the game, because it's not like my culture. I want sort of a glimpse into another culture. This censorship, you could honestly make the case that it's sort of racist, because it seems to only be Japanese games that are getting this sort of censorship. Now I get over in Japan they censor violence, and they do that to their own developers. That's their laws. We don't have any laws over here like that. We have this thing called freedom of speech, and it protects artistic work. It's not someone's place to censor it. Not someone who had no involvement with the game in general. That just happens to be working on the localization team. Their job is to just localize it. It's like, using the 4Kids thing as an example, Funimation, from everything that I know, they don't mess around with it. They translate the scripts as closely to the original as possible and just release it as it is. They don't mess around with it. And because this game is so niche, I don't think this was something that was on the radars of the social justice warriors. Maybe it's some in the gaming media, but honestly, who takes them seriously anymore? They're not people who really care about games in general. They're there to advance a social cause of theirs, or just to be what I would call a career complainer, or I should say professionally offended. That's a better term. So they shouldn't be taken seriously anyway. And if I were some of these websites that employ people like them, I would be giving them a pink slip, fire them. But that's another topic. But if there is anyone, any social justice warriors out there that are like, right on Nintendo, way to go, doing the right thing, put yourself in the reverse position. Let's say, just for an example, and it's something that wouldn't happen, but let's say that Disney were to censor Finding Nemo. And from what I understand, I haven't seen the movie, but I seem to remember reading somewhere that they had a lesbian couple in that movie. And that's fine. If that director wanted it in there, that's their business. That's their artistic creation, and no one should be able to tell them otherwise. But let's say that Disney, and I know this doesn't make any sense, but again, just play along. Let's say Disney decided to censor that out. Censored out of the U.S. release. You would be up in arms over it. It seems to be okay when they're censoring something that you don't like or that you quote unquote find offensive. But if it's something that you like or support, then it would become a different story, and you know it. So, yeah, this is why these social justice warriors should not be taken seriously. Just throwing that out there. But aside from that, this is just, Nintendo being Nintendo. And quite honestly, I've had enough. I've supported this company for the past few years. I've stood by the Wii. The Wii U is a gigantic failure financially. And I still defended the system. Hey, and you know what? I still stand by the things I've said. The system has great exclusives. I love the controller. But they've lost me, man. They've lost me. They're not standing with real gamers here. They're standing with people who will never buy a game in their life, most likely. Or they're trying to protect kids who shouldn't buy the game to begin with because it's rated T. And I know the argument against this would be Bayonetta 2. If you go back, they didn't do anything to Bayonetta 2. Well, I have a theory on that. When Bayonetta 2 came out, Nintendo thought that they could appeal to the quote-unquote hardcore gamers, the Xbox and PlayStation fans. I'm not saying they're not hardcore gamers. The term hardcore gamers I have a problem with. But they were trying to appeal to Xbox and PlayStation fans, and their approach to that was to publish 2 or 3 really mature games and hope that would be enough. Their approach to getting mature gamers or PlayStation and Xbox fans is about the same strategy that Sony has for getting Nintendo gamers. Sony will publish a handful of animated games every 4 or 5 years and hope that'll be enough. Now, they used to publish a lot more than that back in the day, but that's their approach to it these days. And they just expect that to be enough. It's a really half-hearted attempt. And that's Nintendo's approach to getting mature gamers. Or Xbox, PlayStation fans, whatever, how you want to categorize them. So that's why they didn't touch Bayonetta 2. Now they just don't care. They realize that their efforts, I guess, were futile, though they were really just half-hearted. They could, if they made a concerted effort, they could get the core gamers back, but that they just don't want to. They'll appeal to anyone besides the hardcore gamers. They'll appeal to anyone, social justice warriors, whatever they can get. They'll do anything not to appeal and make games, a large amount of games for PlayStation and Xbox fans. It's quite embarrassing, actually. But I've had it. I've really had it. You can't, you can only stand by a company so much and take it up the rear so much from them before eventually you just got to dig yourself out of that hole you've dug yourself into and say, enough's enough. I'll take my business elsewhere, because there's companies like Xseed that publish very Japanese-centric titles, and I just picked one up called Akiba's Strip or Akiba's Trip. The way the title is, it looks like Akiba's Strip, but it's Akiba's Trip. Undead and Undressed. Really, really good game, by the way. But they're making a lot of games like that, and they're not censoring any of their stuff. And there's other companies like that. So they'll be the ones that get my business when I want to get those kinds of games. And I do have a particular taste for those kinds of games. And I was really looking forward to Tokyo Mirage Sessions. I thought it was probably one of the few people that was after they showed the first trailer, because originally it was Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem. And then when they officially announced it as Tokyo Mirage Sessions, it ended up looking more like Persona, but a lot more, I guess, lighthearted maybe would be the word to go with, or the phrase to go with. But I was really excited about it because it was everything I liked about Japanese culture. I just rolled into this one game, and that's why I buy these kinds of games, because I want to see something different, something unique. I mean, you play like the game I mentioned before, Akiba's Trip. There's no other game like that. It's very, very creative, and there's just it's games like that you can only get from the Japanese, and I don't want that messed around with. I'm not going to pay $60 for 95% of a game. I'm not paying $60 to get an Americanized version of a game. I want what the directors intended. And I'm sure the game's great, but it's the principle of the thing. I don't condemn anyone who buys it. There's not a lot to buy on the Wii U anyway, so I mean, you just kind of take what you can get. But it won't be getting my money. And I applaud the modders out there who've created a patch to quote-unquote uncensor it. You guys are doing great work. I think it only works for the digital version, and if it worked for the physical version, I would probably buy the game secondhand and then install the patch, but I don't want to give them my money. So, you know, it's if they can get a physical patch or get a patch for the physical copy, then I'm in. But until then, that's not to undermine the modders out there, because you know, they went through the effort to do that. Nintendo could have released a patch themselves, or even just when they were making the game or localizing it, left in the uncensored version and just had the option there. Like, do you want to play it censored or uncensored, and just do it that way. But they didn't care enough about the gamers to do such a thing, so to hell with them. But that's all I've got to say. This is Pokemon Master Ricky signing off. If you like the video, hit the like button, comment below, let me know what you guys think, and subscribe to us if you haven't already. And I'll catch you guys next time. Take care and God bless.